tonight possible. Come on, let's take a moment and appreciate them. To every participant in this program, your contributions are invaluable. And tonight, as you have already heard through the introduction, what a surprise. I'm just so humbled, really, is what it is. Tonight is a full circle for me. I stand here as a product of what this celebration represents, the cultivation of leaders. As a middle school student in Mrs. Janelle Preston's class at what was then Wake Forest Rhodesville Middle School, I was invited to take part in this very event. Years later, I returned deeply grateful for the foundation that was laid. But tonight is not about me. It is about you, our youth. Across every grade level, you have stepped forward to share your voices, your talents, and your perspectives. Your participation in this contest is more than a competition. It is a testament to your role in carrying forward Dr. King's dream. You are the future. You are the extension of his legacy. As we celebrate your achievements, we also charge you with great responsibility to continue shaping the dream, to build a world that is more inclusive, more just, and more equitable for all. You are not just the leaders of tomorrow. You are the change makers of today. You know, King Day celebrations always bring me back to the days of my youth. My father never failed. He never failed to remind me that King Day was not a day off, but it was a day of commemoration, a day to honor Dr. King's unwavering commitment to dismantling inequality and prejudice, to championing social justice, and to forging a society where people of all colors, classes, and creeds stand united. But tonight, is not just about remembering. It is also about seeing those who live on the margins of society, Black and indigenous communities, people of color, and siblings of all orientations. We must remember those deemed the least of these, our differently abled brothers and sisters, the hungry and the thirsty, the sick and the sorrowful, the impoverished and those in prison in both mind and body. Tonight, we amplify the voices of those who cannot lift themselves. As we carve out this sacred space to reflect on Dr. King's prophetic conviction and boundless vision, let us resist the temptation to be naive. The progress that we celebrate today is not solely of our own making, but we, all of us, we are the beneficiaries of a dream Dr. King never saw fully realized in his lifetime. Yet, here we stand, living proof that what once was unimaginable is now reality. We are the embodiment of Dr. King's hope, the manifestation of what was once deemed impossible, a world where people are not judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character, a world where every person deserves dignity, respect, and the fundamental right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Tonight, I seek to offer deep insights into the profound words of Dr. King, that forgiveness is not an occasional act, it is a constant attitude. Again, allow me to say that one more time, that forgiveness is not an occasional act, it is a constant attitude. As I reflected on this theme, I found myself wrestling with the idea, how do we extend forgiveness to those who are neither remorseful, nor capable, nor willing to offer an apology? How do we release the weight of resentment when reconciliation seems impossible? Dr. King did not view forgiveness as passive submission, but as an act of strength, an intentional, transformative decision to break the cycle of hatred. In his book, Strength to Love in 1963, he wrote that we must develop and maintain the capacity to forgive. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power to love. And in his sermon, Loving Your Enemies, that he delivered at Dexter Avenue Baptist Church, he said, forgiveness does not mean ignoring what has been done or putting a false label on an evil act. Forgiveness means rather that the evil act no longer remains as a barrier to the relationship. But what happens? What happens when those of us who have been kissed by God's Son, when those whose skin is not of the lightest hue grow weary of always being the ones called to forgive? What happens when the burden of grace feels too heavy? It is difficult to maintain a posture of forgiveness when we exist in turbulent times such as these, when policies are written to erase our progress, when systems are built to silence our voices, when executive orders just 10 days into a presidency threaten the welfare of so many. I want to just remind us that forgiveness does not mean complacency. It does not mean that we stop speaking truth to power. It does not mean that we ignore injustices, but forgiveness at its core is about refusing to let hatred have the final say. You can roll back DEI, but we will not roll, but we will roll forward in determination. You can silence the teaching of critical race theory in schools, but we will amplify its truth in our churches, our institutions, and through the revival of freedom schools if we have to. You can attempt to dehumanize and deport entire communities, but we will remain a people of radical hospitality, opening our doors and our hearts to those who have been displaced. Misogyny may win an election, but it will not stop us from uplifting our sisters, women who are breaking barriers, women who are shattering ceilings and leading with strength. What am I trying to tell you tonight? All I'm saying is that hatred will not have the final say. Hatred will not have the final say in our schools. It will not have the final say in our churches, not in our communities, not in Wake Forest, if we have anything to do with it, and definitely not in our hearts, because we stand on the shoulders of those who turn oppression into opportunity, who transform pain into power, and who prove that love, justice, and truth will always prevail. From the transatlantic slave trade to the Emancipation Proclamation, from Reconstruction to Jim Crow, from the Civil Rights Movement to the violence of Bull Connor, from the fight for black liberation to the policies designed to silence it, from the movement for Black Lives Matters to the struggle that we still endure today, we declare with an unwavering conviction conviction that before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to be with my Lord. Even in 2025, we will raise our voices to sing that we ain't gonna let nobody turn us around. We won't let racism turn us around. We won't let hatred turn us around, because deep in our hearts, I don't know about you, but I still believe that one day we shall overcome. And until that day comes, we will march. Until that day comes, we will use social media to amplify our voices. Until that day comes, we will build, we will rise, because everyone, I must tell you that the dream is still unfolding. Because justice is still our birthright. Because we are the ones that our ancestors prayed for. Matter of fact, we are our ancestors' wildest dream. And now is our time to rise. If I can, moment to speak to the next generation and to speak to those that are those in power. You have the authority, the influence, and the responsibility to shape a world. It's not an aspiration, but a reality. I implore you to use your power wisely. Do not legislate division, but write laws that dignify. Do not build walls of oppression. Build bridges that unite. Do not weaponize the fear that so many people feel, but lead with hope. And to the next generation, you are the inheritors of a dream that has been fought for, prayed over, and paid for in blood, sweat, and sacrifice. Do not allow it to slip through your fingers. You stand at the intersection of history and possibility, and what we do next matters. What you do next matters. Do not wait for permission to lead. And when the world asks, where are the dreamers? Where are those that have the capacity to walk in forgiveness? Where are the justice seekers? Where are the builders of a better tomorrow? Allow it to be said of us that we did not roll over, that we did not place our heads in the sand, that we did not act like we don't see what is happening amongst us, but we say, here we are, ready to rise. Here we are, ready to lead. Here we are, ready to march on until justice is done. Thank you so much.